Hi, folks. This is Scott Giles, and I'm a certified hypnotist, consulting hypnotist with the National Guild of Hypnotists, as well as a hypno coach. Today, I want to talk about fear. Now, in my practice, which is a practice in complementary medical hypnotism almost exclusively, uh, what we do here is we do hypnosis on a scientific basis about issues concerning health and well being. So, smoking cessation, weight management, that's all included in that because that concerns health and well being. We also work to enhance natural fertility in women who are seeking to become pregnant. And I do a great deal of work with oncology. Now, because of that work in oncology, I have a lot of experience in helping people deal with their fears. And so fear became sort of a special study of mine, not just the emotion, but its biology. The mission of the human brain is to keep us safe. And so our brains evolved to emphasize any potential threat. Fear makes a creature cautious. Cautious creatures tend to survive and reproduce and pass on the fearful genes, while incautious creatures tend to become food for larger creatures. So evolution has given us an intrinsically negative brain. It's been said that two-thirds of the chemicals our brain uses to regulate its functioning are actually involved in the transmission of fear. So there's a heavy biochemical predisposition to favor negative expectation. Now, animals feel fear too, but their fear is a species-specific defense reaction. They react to things that cause fear in the moment, when they're happening. And when they're not happening, the fear goes away. People, however, react to potential threats. We've evolved to be athletes in jumping to conclusions and blowing things out of proportion. Well, think about this. You go for your physical, and your doctor makes a concerned sound and says, well, I think we better run some tests just to be sure. And the physician may be very reassuring when that is said, but what happens? Your negative brain goes to work, you blow things out of proportion, you run home, you fire up your web browser, you log into a search engine, and you proceed to terrify yourself by imagining all of the incredible things that could possibly be going wrong with you. I've had a powerful experience about this when I was a student back in 1977. I was doing my clinical pastoral education at the University of Chicago Medical Center. And I was assigned to neurological surgery, gold surgery, as they called it. And I was in the medical library reading up on neurological disorders, and I came upon one called Kuru. It is a progressive, degenerative, always fatal neurological disease. And as I was reading this, the very general symptoms began to terrify me because I had had some of those. Now, they were very general sorts of things, but I had had them. And even if there were some I didn't know that I had, I thought that maybe I had them at some point. And I worked myself up into a full-blown panic attack. Tunnel vision, ringing in the ears, tachycardia, the whole 9 yards. And then I got to the etiology, how you acquire this disease. And it turns out that this disease is unknown outside of the headhunters of New Guinea. The only way you can get it is by eating the brain of another human being who had it. Well, I knew I hadn't done that, but that taught me a very powerful lesson about how quickly fear runs away with us in an irrational fashion. Now, fear is produced biologically by the two amygdalae, which are located behind the pituitary gland, and when they are stimulated, what happens is they produce hormones like cortisol and so on that prepare us to either fight, to freeze, or to flight, to run away from a perceived threat. These chemicals have a very long half-life. And so when you experience fear, it's not like for an animal over quickly. It casts a long psychophysiological shadow in the human physiology. Because of all of this, and this is the important thing to get, our brain has evolved to give us a distorted perception of the world and of events. distorted in a negative direction. We all, because of evolution, look out at the world through smoke-colored glasses. I see this all the time when I'm working with someone with a life-changing medical disorder, cancer, heart disease, and the many other conditions I will work with. I caution them, don't get too far out ahead of the data. There are 1,001 bad things that could happen, and almost none of them are going to. So stay as closely tied to the data as you can. Otherwise, your fear will run away with you because of that distorted negative perception. Zig Ziglar, motivational speaker, has a wonderful little trick with the word fear. He uses it as an acronym, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Because that's what happens. Because of that distorted perception of the brain, things aren't as bad as we're afraid they are, but we don't get that. Now, I don't dismiss the law of attraction. I think some people make too much of it, but there's something to it. If our conscious mind expects good things to be happening to us, we tend to get a boost. Our body helps us out. Our mind helps us out. We notice things. We see opportunities. We're more stimulated. We're in flow. But if we expect bad things to happen to us, the exact opposite occurs. And we begin to pass up opportunities, pull back, protecting ourselves. And what happens is that we do tend to get what we focus on. And if you're focused on bad stuff, and fear will do that because of the biology of the brain, then you get bad stuff. So what can you do about this when you're experiencing an irrational fear reaction? Well, certainly, hypnosis, definitely. I mean, I'm a board certified diplomate of the National Guild of Hypnotists, so obviously I think hypnosis is a good thing. Meditation can help, yoga, martial arts, lots of things. But even just positive distraction will help you. Just get out, go for a walk, go for a run, go to the movies, watch, binge on Netflix, anything that changes the channel in your mind so that the fearful thoughts just don't keep looping and compounding each other. So when you get scared, realize that you are looking at the world through smoke-colored glasses. Because of the biology of fear and the trick evolution has played on the human community, things are almost certainly not as bad as you fear. Take that as an item of faith and you'll be a lot happier. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back next week, 2:30 Central Time, with another short video. This time I'm going to talk about a topic near and dear to many hypnotists, the double bind and how to make use of it. Join me again if you would have an interest in learning more about that. As always, my practice in medical hypnosis, life coaching, and with Dr. Bates and energy work, we can help with a lot of problems that people have. So if you think that our services would be helpful for you, please feel free to reach out to me directly through email or Facebook, and also check our website because there's a lot of information there. And while you're there, why don't you sign up for our free newsletter, Power Lines. Take care. Talk to you next week.